All right, welcome. So, trying to figure out where I should look because if you're just listening to this on audio, I'm also recording this on video. I've got this on two angles. I've got one main camera to my front right, and then one B camera to my right. Right. I wanted to do this because it gives me sort of a better place to have more unstructured conversations and share my ideas, as well as just talk with people. I'd like to bring some people on here at some point and have some conversations about videography, photography, in terms of the artistic and in terms of the business aspects, because this is just me documenting a lot of my own experiences and a lot of the learnings that I'm also going through, and where I can create more formalized, structured material. Like I just finished today recording about four tutorials that are very specifically geared towards corporate videography. A lot of this applies in many aspects of the craft itself. And I think that's the important thing I want to focus, is that it is a craft and it's something that I'm developing over the course of my life. It's particularly tricky to me because my former best friend, and I say former best friend because he committed suicide in July of 2017, is actually right now we're coming up on the anniversary of his passing. It's July now. And it's part of the reason why I've been really pushing myself to really make this a reality, because I also just finished reading Crush It. And as much as I want to say that this is something I want to do, I want to really, really pursue this entrepreneurial venture or this idea, I want to actually put forth the effort to make that happen. And I have to make a concerted effort, given that there's sort of these reasons, like my friend passing and me being inheriting the camera that I'm shooting this footage on right now is actually kind of a big deal. So there's a lot of pressure. There's definitely a lot of pressure to perform, on top of the fact that I've been financially at a very unstable place for going on 9 months now, and it sucks. And I go through these phases, and I realize that it's been really difficult for me to want to go back to a normal job. And in the meantime, in that span of time, I've had a job. I've had normal, I guess you could say, normal jobs for, I would say, a cumulative for maybe between 4 and 6 months of that time. But I keep realizing that I'm always coming short of having enough money with that kind of structure. And still I'm able to just scramble and pick and fight and make some extra dough on the side and end up making a bunch of extra money. And it's always been surprising that I'll stress out for the first chunk of the month, first half, and then the second month when I start to feel that pressure, then I can go out and do something. I can go hunt and kill. And so I'm making a really concerted effort at this point to really just hunt and kill and do it this way, because besides the perspective of my friend passing away, listening to Crush It, and a lot of the stories, actually, no, not Crush It, but Crushing It, a lot of the stories are very reminiscent of the fact that I grew up in this third world-based household. And putting things in perspective, I could be working late nights at a grocery store, unpacking pallets of stuff, and that's backbreaking work, or I could be doing this. And so I'm really making an effort to do this. And I think that's probably what I want to lead with in this first episode. Granted, I only have about 11 minutes remaining. I want to keep this nice and short, just to get in the groove of things. But that's what I want to lead with, is that this is a job. And in a way, I'm kind of speaking to my younger self, because I always used to believe that I didn't want to do something that would become a job, because then if I did it as a job, I would hate it. I wouldn't want to do it forever. And so it's been revealing to me to realize a lot of these things, and to realize that now I'm here in a place where I have to split the balance. I have to speak to myself. I have to sort of be kind to myself the way that I would want the ideal boss, because in order to do this kind of work, in order to really strike out on your own, you have to do so many things. You have to take on so many roles that there's absolutely very little room, because the tolerances are so tight. You're managing everything. Not only do you have to be considerate of the creative aspects of the business, you also have to be considerate of the fact that you have to maintain a business, meaning you have to manage the finances and all of those things. And something I need to attend to those things for a period of time. It's just that it's not going to come right away. And by that I mean it's not going to be something that'll just sustain itself over the long run. And so part of me creating this content is actually so that you can see it and see the process, but also so that it sort of brings people in and hopefully inspires other people to see it and put that out there with the world. So if you wouldn't mind, share this with the world, that would be freaking awesome. Yeah, it's a challenge. Having to manage finances and trying to juggle the equipment and even setting up this whole space. God, let me see. I'm going to try and document this actually on Insta or something real quick, because I want to I just kind of want to show this process as I am doing it. And it's a lot, because now I'm also doing not only am I doing the creative, I'm also doing the distribution. I'm also working on the distribution of all this product and material and content, and also doing the advertising. It's just kind of a built-in thing. God damn it! So I tried to make it so that this iPad would not lock itself. Okay, so I've got half the time left. All right, so here we are. So this is going to be the first episode of this podcast. I'm going to try and shoot about 4 of these today. I don't know if you can hear me, by the way, if you're on live, but I'm trying to speak into this mic, and I can't be super loud because it's very sensitive, but this is just kind of a glimpse of what's going on. So this is part of the distribution channel of this whole process, is that I do have to create content that goes out there and people can kind of see it's compelling and exciting and all of that stuff to draw people in. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. If you happen to be on the live, thank you for joining. But I just was kind of doing this real quickly to kind of talk about a point, which is that I have to create the distribution channels for this business. But yeah, the thing is, like, social media can be this passive thing that you play with. And it's been something I've experimented with for some time, but I'm making a really concerted effort at this point to manage all the aspects of this business and take it seriously. 2017 was a real kick to the pants. It's now mid-2018, and I need to make a point to really push forward. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I'm not going to go anywhere with this. I'm probably going to end up in another job, and just the thought of that genuinely scares me. Even as we speak right now, I probably have to get some sort of a temporary gig because finances are so tight, and I do have to provide for Ava. And admittedly, I haven't, I can definitely do a lot more. Regardless of the tension that's between my ex and I, there is still a lot I need to do to, at the very least, provide for our daughter. And so that's what you're seeing at this point, is this whole process. And I'm trying to make it as creative and exciting as possible with the whole backdrop, if you guys are happy. And if you get an opportunity to see this, I've kind of set up the backdrop and the whole setting with the studio to be a little more exciting with the lights and whatnot. So definitely do check that out on iTunes. But yeah, it's if you're venturing into this world, if you're venturing into the creative world and trying to make a living off of it, you have to get past some very basic, kind of stupid ideas, and they're stupid. It's hard for me to be polarizing because I want to be considerate of everyone's story and everyone's circumstances, but to have limiting ideas like you don't want to sell out, that was one of the most limiting ideas that I probably could have lived with for a long, long time. It's just this notion that I didn't want to do what I was passionate about as a job, because then it would take the passion away from that. And truly, there are times where I wish I could just stick to being creative. But that's why it's important to be considerate of that and be respectful of the fact that you won't be able to manage the finances and the marketing and distribution of your content and your product. So you need to find people who are who are masters at those things, and then eventually either collaborate with them or hire those people into your business and into your space. And that's where I'm putting a lot of my attention. Is I don't want to just think of this as this cute little hobby that, I'll get some jobs here and there. I really want to consider that in the next 6 months, I want to bring people onto this team, and I want to build Echelon Media to be a full-on business that serves people, that actually elevates the story, like the slogan dictates. I apologize. I'm still sort of figuring out podcasting etiquette, so if it sounds crappy, whatever. But yeah, those are critical parts to this whole deal, is that I want to be able to develop this in a way that I can actually step away from it and let it just run itself as a genuine business. And it's fun. It definitely is fun. There's a very real reason, very solid reason why I love the camera and I love doing this, because it's a golden ticket into every possible space I would want to explore. Brandon probably really illustrated that when we got used to running around Los Angeles, and we would sneak into these places and get into some really nice parties simply because we were carrying our own cameras. We'd be privy to a lot of these amazing things. And so right now I'm using that as an opportunity, not only to experience different aspects of life, because I mean it when I say elevate your story. I'm passionate about people's stories and what makes them tick, and how they came to be where they are. And I think the corporate setting is a lot more. I like how formalized the corporate setting is. And that's why I focus on it, because not only do you have to live your story and be true to it, you have to you're really put to your paces, because if you really believe in the mission of whatever business that you've created, you have to really follow through. You really have to be a good representative for your customers, and you really have to stand by your brand and really represent your brand in a way that actually leads you to success. You have to constantly succeed on a day-to-day basis. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up here, because I am coming up on that 15-minute limit. This is just an exploratory experience. Disseminating more content, as it were, out there. But thank you so much for joining me. I'll put this up. This will all be as podcasty as possible, and get this up on iTunes and Stitcher and every other podcasting platform that you could possibly find it at. And also post the videos up on YouTube and Facebook if you want to go and see that. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Mark with Echelon Media. Give this a 5-star rating, I think, on iTunes. And if you got something out of it, and leave a comment below or wherever that happens to be. Again, I'm just figuring this stuff out. So wherever you happen to see all that stuff, you give me some love, send it my way, and subscribe. I'm going to make a point to do these at least once a week. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next show, the next radio show. Thanks.